Names like Hendrix, Clapton, and Page dominate the conversation when talking about rock's greatest guitarists. But some players who pushed, inspired, or even outplayed them never got the same level of fame. These are 10 rock guitarists who stood toe-to-toe with legends, and in some cases, left them in the dust. Number 10. Robbie Krieger, The Doors. Most rock guitarists are taught to start with a pick, but Robbie Krieger played electric guitar almost entirely with his fingers, shaped by flamenco lessons with Frank Chen and the Indian music he absorbed while studying with Ravi Shankar. That influence ran straight into the Doors. On the end, Krieger dropped both E strings down to D, creating that droning, raga-like atmosphere. When he brought Bottleneck Slide into an early rehearsal, Jim Morrison and Ray Manzarek were so struck by it they wanted it everywhere. Krieger also wrote and co-wrote many of the Doors' biggest hits. Light My Fire was the first song he ever wrote, built, as he later joked, from almost every chord he knew. Its long modal break owed a debt to John Coltrane's My Favorite Things. While other players chased louder blues rock heroics, Krieger outclassed them with space, slide, drone, and fingerstyle phrasing. The next guitarist was so good, Brian May trusted him with a Spanish-style solo Queen needed done right. Number 9. Steve Howe, Yes and Asia. Steve Howe's philosophy came from Chet Atkins. One guitarist should be able to play any style. Howe took that literally. He fused classical, folk, flamenco, country, and jazz into progressive rock, drawing from Wes Montgomery, Kenny Burrell, and Charlie Bird, while playing in one of the most technically demanding bands of the 70s. He did much of it on a Gibson ES-175D, a hollow-body archtop associated with jazz players. Few rock guitarists made a jazz box sound that fearless, but Howe proved it could handle almost anything. Guitar Player voted him Best Overall Guitarist 5 years straight, from 1977 through 1981, and made him the first rock guitarist in its Hall of Fame. For Queen's Innuendo, Brian May handed him a nylon string Gibson Chet Atkins guitar for a wild Spanish-style break. Gibson later said Howe elevated rock guitar into an art form. From a guitarist who could play almost every style to one who invented sounds nobody had heard before. Number 8. Adrian Belew, King Crimson, Talking Heads. Adrian Belew didn't want to sound like everybody else, so he made his guitar sound like animals, car horns, insects, and industrial machinery, using effects, pick scrapes, bending the neck, whammy bar extremes, and unorthodox slide techniques. He became one of rock's most adventurous early users of guitar synthesizers like the Roland GR300. With King Crimson, Belew served as frontman, co-guitarist, and principal lyricist for nearly 3 decades. He brought new wave, funk, and art rock chaos into a band defined by precision and discipline. Trent Reznor of Nine Inch Nails called him the most awesome musician in the world. His influence runs through players like Adam Jones of Tool, St. Vincent, and John Frusciante. While other guitar heroes chased bigger solos, Belew outplayed them by expanding what a guitar could even be. The next guitarist didn't just innovate, he brought tapping into rock guitar years before it exploded. Number 7. Steve Hackett, Genesis. Before Eddie Van Halen made tapping famous, Steve Hackett was already using right-hand tapping on stage with Genesis in 1971. Hackett developed the technique because he wanted to play fast on one string without constantly shifting positions. You can hear it on Nursery Crime, especially the musical box, and The Return of the Giant Hogweed. He later compared discovering tapping to the guitar-playing equivalent of splitting the atom. Hackett said Eddie Van Halen credited him as an influence, though Eddie also gave other explanations for where the idea came from. Either way, Hackett's version was years ahead of the rock mainstream. And tapping was not his only innovation. On Dancing with the Moonlit Knight, he used tapping, sweep picking, and octave jumps long before those moves became metal guitar vocabulary. He approached solos like stories, with a beginning, middle, and end, instead of just running through blues box cliches. Brian May, Alex Lifeson, and Steve Rothery all felt his influence. From one of tapping's early rock pioneers to the guitarist voted best in the world. Number 6, Jan Akkerman, Focus. In 1973, Melody Maker readers voted Jan Akkerman the best guitarist in the world. He beat Eric Clapton, Steve Howe, John McLaughlin, Jimmy Page, and Rory Gallagher. Akkerman earned it by doing something almost no rock guitarist was doing at that level. He fused classical discipline, Renaissance lute music, Django Reinhardt's melodic language, and hard rock attack into a style nobody could neatly categorize. With Focus, he anchored tracks that set rock, classical, and jazz on a collision course. On Hocus Pocus, he drove the riff with a late 60s Gibson Les Paul Custom, a Fender Super Showman, and a Color Sound Power Boost. Then stacked it against hyper-speed solos, jazzy major 7th chords, classical runs, and Thijs van Leer yodeling over the top. At a time when rock guitar was dominated by British and American heroes, Akkerman made a Dutch prog band impossible to ignore. The readers agreed. For that moment, Akkerman stood above the giants. From the guitarist who beat the legends in a poll to one who had Clapton wondering how he'd done it. Number 5, Paul Kossoff, Free. Paul Kossoff didn't play fast, and he didn't shred. In Free, he favored raw, expressive phrasing over intricate solos. His work on All Right Now shows deceptively sharp rhythm playing underneath a simple, melodic approach to lead guitar. But his signature was that aching, high-speed finger vibrato, a wide vocal-like shake so personal that Kossoff later recalled Eric Clapton coming up to him and asking how he did it. Kossoff never used that gift to show off. His philosophy was simple. I like to move people. I don't like to show off. Paul Rodgers later described him as too sensitive for this world. Kossoff died in 1976 at just 25 from a pulmonary embolism, but that vibrato still proves one note with feeling can hit harder than 100 played for speed. Joe Bonamassa has helped keep the Kossoff flame alive, playing and showcasing Gibson's limited-run replica of Kossoff's 1959 Les Paul. We're counting down 10 rock guitarists who outplayed legends. So far, we've seen a Doors guitarist who fused flamenco with Indian classical, a Yes Master who won Best Overall Guitarist 5 years running, and a Genesis innovator who brought tapping into rock years before Van Halen made it famous. But the top 4 take it even further, because these weren't just great players, they were the guitarists other legends studied, admired, and never forgot. Number 4, Gary Moore, Skid Row and Thin Lizzy. Gary Moore could move through almost any style: blues, hard rock, heavy metal, jazz, fusion. Moore crossed between them like rooms in the same house. He started in the Irish Skid Row, spent time in Thin Lizzy, contributed to the original recording of Still in Love with You, and helped power the classic Black Rose album. As a solo artist, Moore became a major force in 80s hard rock before returning to his roots with Still Got the Blues, which sold over 3 million copies worldwide. By the end of the 80s, Moore had grown tired of his own hard rock machine and wanted the feeling back. Albert King gave him the key: slow it down, leave space, and play every other lick. Bob Geldof later called him, without question, one of the great Irish bluesmen. Moore could play at the level of the giants, but his real power was learning when not to. The next guitarist inspired a Hendrix myth so famous it had to be debunked. Number 3. Rory Gallagher. There's a famous story that Jimi Hendrix, when asked what it felt like to be the world's greatest guitarist, replied, "I don't know, ask Rory Gallagher." That's a myth. But the myth stuck because it feels true. Gallagher played more than 2,000 concerts worldwide and is often called Ireland's first rock star. His setup was deliberately raw: a battered 1961 Fender Stratocaster, a Vox AC-30, and a Dallas Rangemaster treble booster. He avoided relying on effects, preferring to pull the sound from his hands, guitar, booster, and amp. On albums like Deuce, he recorded close to the way he played live, cutting vocals and guitar solos with the band and using minimal overdubs. His live album, Irish Tour 74, reportedly sold over 2 million copies and proved his unpolished ferocity was the point. Gallagher didn't need mythology to stand with legends. He had volume, stamina, taste, and nothing to hide behind. From Ireland's first rock star to the guitarist who gave B.B. King the cold sweats. Number 2. Peter Green, Fleetwood Mac. B.B. King said it himself. "He has the sweetest tone I ever heard. He was the only one who gave me the cold sweats." When the king of the blues says another guitarist made him sweat, you listen. Peter Green replaced Eric Clapton and John Mayall's Blues Breakers, then founded the original Fleetwood Mac. While Clapton became the emblem of British blues rock firepower, Green went the opposite direction. He played slowly, and he played simply. "Playing fast means nothing to me," Green once said. "I like to play very slowly and feel every note." His 1959 Gibson Les Paul produced a distinctive out-of-phase tone when both pickups were selected, thanks to the famous mystery around its neck pickup and magnet. His Albatross was a dreamy, bluesy instrumental that hit number 1 in the UK. It wasn't the raucous electric blues fans expected. It was something quieter and more emotional. Carlos Santana covered Green's Black Magic Woman and turned it into a US Top 10 hit. Gary Moore bought Green's legendary Les Paul, used it for years, and later recorded the tribute album, Blues for Greenie.
I've got a black magic woman.
But the number 1 spot goes to a guitarist so advanced that Eddie Van Halen called him the best, and admitted he couldn't copy what he was doing. Number 1. Alan Holdsworth. Eddie Van Halen called Alan Holdsworth number 1, the best in my book. That wasn't empty praise. Eddie admired Holdsworth because he couldn't copy him. Holdsworth's phrasing was liquid. His harmonies sounded like they came from another planet. And even the most famous guitar hero of the 1980s had to admit this was a different musical universe. Holdsworth wanted his guitar to flow like a saxophone. He loved John Coltrane, so he built a legato approach that reduced the attack of the pick, using hammer-ons, pull-offs, and impossible stretches to make the notes connect with eerie smoothness. Then came the harmony. Holdsworth drew from Lydian, diminished, augmented, whole tone, and altered sounds, building a chord and scale language with almost no precedent in rock guitar. Frank Zappa called him one of the most interesting guys on guitar on the planet. Joe Satriani said hearing Holdsworth was a cathartic experience and that his harmony was original, beautiful, and spellbinding. Alan Holdsworth didn't just outplay legends, he gave them something they couldn't decode. That's our list. 10 guitarists who played at the highest level and never got the recognition they deserved. Which one should be more famous? Let us know in the comments.